Okay, well, without further ado, I see a few more people are popping on, but we're going to go ahead and get started because, like I said, we do have a full agenda for today. So, first of all, I want to say thank you for attending. Welcome to the Back to School 2024 Defined Updates webinar. My name is Lisa Wolf. I'm the Vice President of Product and Marketing, and I'm really excited to share a lot of updates that are new for across all of the entire Defined ecosystem here. And so we felt this was important. We've had so many cool new additions to our products that we wanted to make sure that all of our current partners were aware of all of them. So hope your school year is off to a great start. And we're hoping that, all of our cool new features are going to be able to help you with your school year. So a little bit about what we're going to cover in the next about 45 minutes or so. You see, we've got, like I said, a full agenda here. I'm going to be covering a lot of things that have been rolling out since about last spring and all through the fall. The very first thing I'm going to touch on is defined goals, which we did do a webinar last spring, but I'm just going to do kind of a refresher of what this is for any current defined careers or defined learning customers. If you're looking for a customized implementation of either one of our products, this is going to be something that might be of interest to you. And I'm going to show you some of the cool reports that you can get from defined goals. You're going to see the biggest amount of agenda items are underneath defined careers. We're very excited to announce the launch of Defined Aptitude this fall. I'm going to talk about that, which is a new add-on assessment for grades 8 and 9 within defined careers that I'll kind of walk you through. We've got a lot of new content that has been rolling out all through last spring and summer with 6 new virtual internships, as well as a number of post-secondary planning lessons that are already out there, as well as several more actually coming out this fall and winter. I'm going to talk a little bit about the career review survey that has been enhanced with, and then to go along with it, some reports. You're going to notice reporting is a big theme for today because we've really beefed up the reporting and the data and the insights that you can get across our entire ecosystem. So the reports for the career review survey, enhancing the reports for our pathways matching assessment, our opportunities report, which just came out last month, as well as our career exploration report, which is in defined careers, as well as you'll see in defined learning too. And then lastly, there is some new content in defined learning that I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of. So we've got a lot of stuff to cover as we go through here. So let's go ahead and dig in. Like I mentioned, the very first thing that I wanted to just kind of do a quick refresher on was define goals. So if you're on this webinar, you are already a current partners of ours, and we are very thankful for your partnership. We have defined learning, defined careers, as well as defined academy, all of our support and professional learning for that. What defined goals is really a customized implementation of any of those services. And so just as a little refresher of what this is, with Defined Learning, of course, our K through 12 standards aligned tool, and Defined Careers, which is also K through 12, really focused on that career exploration and aligned to career clusters and pathways. With defined goals, if you are looking for a customized implementation of any of the projects or the career courses across either defined learning or defined careers, defined goals can put together, will work with you to figure out a custom catalog of tasks. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in both defined learning as well as defined careers. And within those tasks, you can also measure different or chosen performance indicators that you are trying to measure within your school or district. We know across the country, a lot of schools are implementing either a portrait or profile of a graduate and looking at different competencies like communication, collaboration, critical thinking, those types of things. Or you may not have a portrait or profile of a graduate, but maybe it's part of your vision statement or your mission or the values of your school that you're trying to find a way to measure it. I know I've worked with a district that was working on, they really wanted to assess universal soft skills was the term that they were using. However you name these types of skills, because of the unique nature of both defined learning and defined careers, we are able to assess a lot of those competencies that a lot of times are lost across standardized assessments. So I'm going to show you where we can measure those within the rubrics. And you can also have a customized plan. So I mentioned a couple of those, a portrait or a profile of a graduate, or if you have a statewide initiative. We know a lot of states have ICAP or ECAP or some sort of career and academic plan, different types of plans that can be added in there as well. And then the data and the reporting that goes along with that. So let's actually dig in, and I'm going to show you what this could look like across either defined learning, and or defined careers when we are digging into this. So I'm going to start by showing what this looks like in defined learning, just to give you a little snippet and sneak peek of this. So I'm logged in as an educator here into defined learning. You'll notice up here at my course library, I'm actually going to make this just a little bit bigger here for you, all of my course catalogs. And like I mentioned, one of the very first things that we do in defined goals is to take a look at what are the different the different courses that you want to, or either courses or just specific projects that you want to highlight and have your teachers assessing that are maybe aligned to your scope and sequence. You can see right here, we've got this defined school district goals module catalog. What we can do is create a custom catalog that has specific courses here that you want that have already, we've gone through our entire library. We have a huge, amount of projects that are all wonderful to be using. Sometimes it's almost overwhelming for teachers. So if you want to narrow it down and have everybody teaching the same courses across, whether it's sixth grade or anything, or these can even be down here at the bottom. You'll see we've got them broken down by grade levels because we've heard that's kind of helpful. It may be more in high school where it's just specific course. Maybe you just say, here's what I want my Algebra 1 teachers to be doing or something like that. We have a lot of flexibility here in how we lay this out. But what we can do is take a look. What are the courses that are going to align with your scope and sequence for different grade levels or however you want to lay these out, and break it down. In our example here, we've got it broken down by a very common way to lay these out is have one project the first semester, one the second semester, or maybe you want to do one every quarter. However, whatever works best for your school or district or your teachers. But you can see right within here an example. We've got math, social studies, and science. Again, this is just for example purposes. And then you can see what we've done is we've taken a look at some of those core competencies, critical thinking, communication, or innovation and creativity. We've got a number of those where we've kind of chosen what are those specific skills that we are looking at measuring within these particular grade levels, as well as that particular subject area. So we've already picked those choices. We said, hey, we're just going to make this easy for the teacher. They know exactly what to assign during that first semester. So in addition to that custom catalog, you're going to notice that within the project itself, I'm not going to actually go through these since I know you guys are all pros on defined learning already. For those of you that are defined learning customers already, you're going to see that right within the rubric, of course, we already have all of those rubrics that are designed specifically for those products. But what we've done is we've also added in that customized row where we're going to be able to measure one of those key competencies, or we could do a couple. We don't want to overwhelm, again, educators. We can do more than one. We would stick with one, probably no more than two in that rubric. And what you're going to be able to do by having that common project being measured across, a whole grade level, and having that common competency, critical thinking in this example, is be able to get some good data. A lot of times it's really hard to say, okay, we want all of our students to be good critical thinkers, but what does that mean and how are you measuring it? And this is an excellent way to do that. And in defined careers, so that's kind of the main thing. I'm going to come back to the data here in just a second. But in defined careers, we can do a very similar thing. So I'm going to show you from the student side of defined careers what this looks like. And I do want to highlight, I didn't even mention it in the notes, our refreshed student dashboard as well. You'll see we've kind of cleaned this up a little bit. We've had so many new features added over the last couple of years that we kind of had to do a revamp. We're always only going to be showing 4 career courses for the students, their most 4 recent ones that they've been working in. We've added a number of other ways to access some of the newer features here as well. But what you'll see here from the student side is, again, that custom catalog. So in defined careers, we have over 600 career courses. And of course, one of the key things in defined careers is helping students do that self-exploration of finding what career is going to work best for them. We want them out there choosing that catalog. But what we've also heard is sometimes schools want to feature and have all students working on the same course at the same time, whether it's in a CTE course or whether they're really focused on what are some careers that are local to our community. We want to have students exposed to those too and kind of maybe alternate ones that all students are doing versus the ones that they're choosing on their own. So we can do that same thing in Defined Careers. And we make it very easy for the students to go in so they know exactly which career courses to choose. Again, we've laid this out by grade levels. But again, there's flexibility. I was talking to a customer earlier this week and they were like, you know what, we actually have this ninth grade course that's all about college and career readiness. And this would be perfect for all of the students that are in that course, which isn't necessarily grade specific. I'm like, we can do that too. So lots of different flexibility in terms of how we lay this out. But just like with defined learning, you're going to notice we have that unit outline. There's a lot in here. We just based this off of a current customer of kind of how they did it. You're going to see the same thing. They can go in there. Students are working through their lessons. Lesson 3 in Defined Careers is really where the products are, that hands-on career experience where they get to experience being, in this case, a web design specialist. And the same thing you're going to notice in that rubric, we have added that critical thinking. So that way, when the teacher goes to assess this, you have data on how students are doing across the board, whether it's in defined learning or defined careers on those specific competencies. The very last thing I'm going to mention here while I'm in defined careers is I mentioned that last part was having a custom plan. So this is another addition to the Refresh Student Dashboard where they can have that. If you do have a custom plan, that will show up right there on the dashboard. Now, we do have the ability to do multiple plans. I mentioned, sometimes a state will have an initiative that you're trying to track, and you're also trying to track some initiative that's specific to your school or district. We do have the ability to add more than one. Now, this is a demo account, so I've got several in here, but you can see, if I'm based here in Denver, Colorado, so we have ICAP as a statewide initiative, but we might also have at my school or district a portrait of a graduate. So a couple of different things that you can be measuring within defined careers and defined learning. But one of the things that's here, and like I said, this is for a student. If you want to have some student self-reflection, this is optional. You don't have to have this in here, but it's a great option if you do want to have students self-reflecting on those different skills, whether it is critical thinking or communication or any of those different items, or like I said, those items and maybe a state plan. Students can go in, assess where they're at with a particular item by choosing one of the items here from the drop down. So they're kind of choosing their progress. If we did this as a student, we would have probably some self-reflection questions or some I can statements, but a way to get students to be driving this plan and kind of be the owner of their own learning there too. So you can see kind of what this looks like within each bucket. You can have a statement. You can have even a drill down to a question. I've got a couple of these examples in here if you did want a custom item. Here we've got this in terms of project management processes too, students can choose. I do want to mention one other one because this comes up quite a bit in terms of having students be able to make like a 4-year plan. And they're kind of talking about what are the types of courses that I want to take over my next 4 years, or maybe starting in 8th grade and thinking about that, or even 6th grade too. That's another example of some things that we can do within here in terms of having students choose, what are the coursework for a particular subject, or maybe even breaking it down by grade level too. So I did just want to mention that is something that is available as well as part of that custom plan that's available in both defined learning and defined careers. So now that you've seen that both the custom catalog as well as that custom plan, the cool stuff really happens with, not that isn't all cool, but really being able to dig into the reports. So just a couple of weeks ago, we've been working very hard on all of the different reporting. We just turned on all of the reports for anybody who is an entity admin. And you're going to see reports embedded throughout all of our products today. And I'm going to be going through one at a time all of these different reports. In defined learning, the only 3 that are available, well, these 2 are part of defined goals, and I'm going to come back to the career exploration report in the end. Defined careers, you're going to see a few more, and we're going to come back and hit on all of these throughout the whole presentation. But let's take a look right now at what I just mentioned for defined goals and the possibilities here for all of that data. The first thing that I mentioned was being able to go into those rubrics and start assessing any of those different performance indicators. And that's what the performance indicator report does, is it's going to take the aggregate scores that those teachers are grading on all of your students across all of those common projects that have been completed. You're going to see right here, you can select, these are just, again, examples of ones that we had chosen that are pretty common. You can have more than 4, you can have less than 4. You can have whichever ones you pick here that are going to be the ones that are important to you in your goal setting within your school or district. I'm just going to say all of them. You can see all of the filters that we have here as well. You can filter by school, any of the grade levels, any teachers, as well as if you choose a teacher, even down to the class level. And then you can break it down by school year. All of our demo data is from last year. So I'm going to go ahead and generate report. And here's where you can start to see, when I'm trying to measure, how do I know if my students are effective communicators or critical thinkers or collaborators? Here's where we can start to actually get some data on that. So within this, you're going to see at the top, I chose all 4 of those. This would be whatever is specific to your school or district. You can break it apart in terms of, we have this broken down by every single month. Maybe you're only going to be doing a project every quarter and you want to look at that progress from quarter to quarter. You can even change it to, our example was every, once per semester. So you can kind of look at the different views. You're going to see a couple of different things here. We had all 4 of those looking at collaboration, communication, critical thinkers, as well as that innovation and creativity, but this would be whatever's common for your school or district. You can see what that average score was across all of those filters that you chose in the beginning, as well as what the most current one is. And then you've got that cumulative average score. You can also dig in to all of the details over here at the bottom. So this is where you can, do a search by student. You can do some sorting. You're going to be able to do, any sorting for those performance indicators right there in that table. All of this is downloadable into a CSV report as well. And you're going to see exactly which product they were accessing these different projects and which performance indicator it was that they were being measured on. So here you can see, Alistair was doing critical thinkers, communication, and innovation and creativity across, what dates it was as well. So you'll see that across either defined learning and or defined careers too. So a lot of valuable data to really help you measure all of those goals within a school or a district. Now, the other report that's available is going to be that plan report. So I showed you, you can put in a custom plan, whether it is a portrait or a profile of a graduate, or maybe it is an ICAP or some sort of other career and academic plan, or both. You can have multiple. You can see right here, you can select whichever plan it is that you want to see. I'm going to go right into our defined portrait of a graduate. And this is where you can take a look at, again, all of the exact same filters. I'm going to look at last year's and then generate that report. So again, that plan is going to be that student-driven data. Students are saying where they are with the progress of that plan. You can see their progress, whether they've not started, whether they've started or completed. Ours was broken down by all of these different areas, a lot of times the same ones that may be measured, in those rubric indicators. And then you can drill down to a specific statement as well. So I showed career readiness when we did the demo. You can see for that particular statement where students are as well and see that full data. And so all of this, again, is going to be exportable. So you've got that available. You can check by status. It's going to have everybody in there. And if you do have a custom item in there where you wanted them to respond or check the boxes for, I showed the different courses or the different items there too, you can drill into that too. The very last thing I'll mention, I'm going to go back into the student side, when we're in this plan, we do have a section here for evidence. So students can upload something that would be an artifact or some sort of evidence to support that. And with defined goals, if we do have, all of those projects that were in that custom catalog, if they're aligned directly to all of those indicators, as soon as that's graded, we can also set it so that it is automatically added to that student's portfolio. Well, it will be in their portfolio, but it will also be part of that plan as evidence too. So that's another way to really have students be demonstrating all of the different things that they are learning and have it be part of their plan and record that stays with them from year to year. So that was just kind of a brief refresher on defined goals. So I'm going to pause here for a second and check the chat and see if there's any questions over from anybody before we dig into the next. And it doesn't look like I have have any, so that's great. And if you do have questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to pause periodically as we kind of go through all of these different chunks of updates, because I know there's a lot that we've got to get through today. So the next thing on the agenda was Defined Careers, which had a number of different updates. The first of which was that we're so excited to be launching Defined Aptitude. Defined Careers already had an amazing assessment, which we're still going to continue to keep, all about the interests, the values, and the study preferences of a student and helping to match them with pathways. We want students to be doing that every single year because, as you know, interests and values change over time. And that's an important thing that students need to be doing as they move through schools, taking that. A lot of times people do it in the fall, probably right around now. Maybe some of you are starting to want to administer that for the beginning of the school year. But another part of really looking into and exploring careers is thinking about the abilities and the things that you are naturally good at. And that's where defined aptitude comes in. Whereas interests and values are going to change over time. And it's important to assess those, year over year to see where students are. Your innate abilities and kind of your aptitudes, which are going to predict what you're good at, are kind of more set in stone. And not that students, of course, can't get better at things with, practice makes perfect, but there are certain things that students are going to be more apt to be better at. So those are going to be their aptitudes. So we are launching this fall, and this is specifically for grades 8 and 9. Really, students are only going to take this likely once. And with this assessment, like I said, it is that age-specific content for grades 8 and 9. We're looking at 15 different aptitudes that are, and I'm not going to read them all. You can see those up there. And with that, and we're combining these results with the results of the Pathways Matching Assessment, we're really providing some even more personalized and pinpointed recommendations and reports for students for careers that they can start to explore just to get them started. They, of course, have access to all of them. So I'm going to walk you through what those reports look like here in just a little bit. But as you can see, with 15 different aptitudes that we are assessing, we also use a lot of different item types. So I want to show you a few sample items here to kind of give you a little taste of what this looks like as we're looking through there. So in terms of like spatial reasoning, you can kind of see we're looking at having students do some visualizations, using some critical thinking to do some decoding. Some of those you saw on that list were regarding physical strength and steps. So we're going to have some where they're going to have to be able to kind of self-rate themselves based on a situation that they're given, as well as really attention to detail. So there's a number of different things that we're looking at here within Defined Aptitude. The very last one that I have up here is also auditory attention. So there's a couple where they're listening and they have to pay attention because lots of different jobs out there require people to be better at certain skills than others. So that's just kind of a sampling of what that looks like. And I did want to mention that we have a promotion that we just launched for this whole fall. If you don't have Defined Careers, if you're a Defined Learning customer and we're thinking about adding on Defined Careers, now's a great time because we will add Defined Aptitude on at no extra cost. And for those that are existing Defined Careers customers, we will add this onto your renewal for no extra cost. Or if you just went through a renewal, we can go back and edit that for you and get that. So if you do want to try it out once this fall with all of your either 8th or 9th graders or both, we can certainly do that. So I'm going to give you a page here to go to if you would like, if you're interested, but I'm going to show you what that looks like in action. So here's this page. If you don't know who your partner experience manager is or your partnership manager, I'm going to put that page that I just had up there. And if you're interested in checking that out, like I said, this is a great time to try it this fall. But let's go ahead and dig in and show what I already kind of showed you a little bit about what the assessment looks like. It's going to be a number. It's all administered online. It's untimed. It's going to take about an hour, although it can be broken up into 2 chunks. And after students have taken it, their reports are going to be broken into 6 different components here. We've got the overview, their interests and their values. That's from the Pathways Matching Assessment, their aptitudes, the careers, and the next steps. So you're going to see just an overview, and this is going to be going over all of their strengths. We've got their interests. All of this reporting, and this is, again, for all of the students to be seeing this, they're going to see their top 3 interests. All of that is interactive, kind of what they are, why it's important. Same thing for the values. We're going to give them their top three, what they are, why those are important. And then we're going to dig into the aptitudes. We had a list of 15 on that slide that I showed you. We're going to show the top 5 for students. And again, you can scroll through these, what they are, how they're important, as well as a nice little video about that particular strength that they have and how it might be able to be used and what careers it's used in. Down here is where you're going to see the results of the pathways matching assessment. So that's where their interests and their values, those that change over time, are going to be combined with the results of defined aptitude. And if you're familiar with our pathways matching assessment and defined careers, you'll see a similar way that it's laid out here in terms of the number of years of training or education required. We'll see 2 or less over here on the left versus 4 or more for education and training. And you're going to see a couple of different things on all of these different careers. Right here, you're going to see kind of that match across aptitudes, interests, and values, as well as a little bit of information about the career itself with the salary and kind of that outlook. Now, students can go into any one of these, click Explore More. You're going to see what they do, a little bit more information, a little bit deeper dive into that career, how all of their assessment results kind of aligned with that particular career. Then, most importantly, they can experience this right in defined career. So they can go right into that career course if that's something that they want to do. Then at the very end, we give them some next steps. So that is a little brief overview in terms of what it is, what defined aptitude is. Like I said, it's a great time to check that out if you're interested in adding that on. If you already have defined careers, or if you're thinking about getting that in addition to defined learning, that would be a great time to do it. So we had a number of other updates in defined careers as well that I want to touch on. We've been very busy with a lot of content. Last spring, we launched our opportunities feature, which I always like to tell people, think of it as 2 different parts. It is a way for you to post opportunities out to students as well as local partners. So that might be an internship, an apprenticeship, a job shadowing, a guest speaker, anything that is local and custom that you want to provide out to students. And I'll show you a little bit about that. The second part of opportunities is that we do have a number of ready-made virtual internships for students. We started with 16. You see the 16 original there. We're aligned to the 16 national career clusters. And we've also added 6 new ones. These are a great option if you I know me personally, I'm from a very rural town of only 1,600, no stoplights. There was very little of a lot of this other than agriculture. We were lots of farming. There was a lot of cornfields where I was, not a lot in a lot of other these areas. So when there's not a lot of options, these are a great alternative. And nothing's ever going to replace that in-person experience, but there's a lot of different things that we can do to give some experience. And it's also a great way to bridge the gap. Maybe there are a lot of great opportunities in a particular field, but students want to make sure that something is right for them, that they like it. That's a great use of the virtual internship. So I'm going to walk you through one of these new ones here very quickly once we get it back into it. I also wanted to highlight the new post-secondary planning content. I don't know if we have any school counselors on the call today, but we've been asked about this a lot. And so we're very excited to be rolling out a lot of great new post-secondary content right within Defined Careers. All of this was aligned to the Ask a School Counselor professional standards and competencies. You'll see in Defined Careers right now, grades 9 and 10 are available. Grade 11 is very close. We're working on all of this is almost ready to be published. We're waiting on some videos, and once the videos are created, that is all going to be rolling out throughout the fall. Grade 11 is probably going to be done in a couple of weeks. We just need 2 more lessons there, and then we'll do grade 12 and then go back and do the middle school. So a little bit about the scope and sequence. Again, if you want to, if we do have any counselors on the phone, or if you want to make sure that maybe mention this to the counselors within your schools, this is kind of what we're looking at. This is a very robust offering that is just included in Defined Careers. So that is all going to be just keeping your eyes peeled for that as that begins to, some of it's already out there. All 9 of these lessons here across grade 9 and 10 are already out there, grade 11 coming within the next couple of weeks. And then we'll have come back and do 12 in grades 6 through 8 as well. And I'm going to show you all of this as well as some of those new reports here in just a second. But the very last thing that I did want to mention is the updated career review survey. This also came out at the end of last year. So those of you that are using defined careers already, as students were going through a career course, lesson 5 always had kind of a brief kind of summary and review lesson of it. So each course ended with that. We've updated the questions that were there and also added it in a number of different places. We were hearing a lot about, we just want to know where students are in their planning. What are they thinking about in terms of careers? So this is in 4 different places across defined careers. It's going to be at the end of the pathways matching assessment when they take that in defined careers. It's going to be the last lesson still. It's lesson 5 in any of the career or those post-secondary planning courses that I just mentioned. You're going to see it in the virtual internships that I just mentioned as well. It's also available on demand right from that student dashboard. So right where they can go to just take the assessment. We also heard, well, we want to have students do kind of a pre and a post. So they're starting off maybe with the pathways matching assessment at the beginning of the year, but maybe they just want to do the 5 questions, or the teacher wants them to have them to do the 5 questions really at the end of a semester or at the end of the actual year to see if there's been any change. That's available on demand too. And then, of course, there's going to be reporting available for that too. So I'm going to go walk through the reporting for that, a number of other reports, and then the rest of the things that I mentioned there in defined careers. So let's go back here. I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Let's see, what was the very first thing I mentioned here? It was the virtual internships. So let's go in. I'm going to show you what these internships look like. So I'm going to go as an educator, and this is the same for students. They can go right into opportunities. And this is where you're going to see, like I mentioned, think of it as like 2 parts. Anything that you want to post out to students, you can see up here, anybody who has this permission. And we're happy to add this on for anybody. If you have a work-based learning coordinator within your school or district, we can very easily add that permission. They can add a new opportunity or a new partner. So that's anything that's custom, or you're welcome to use any of the now 22, and we're going to continue to expand this offering to virtual internships here. So just a quick, kind of look at what we've got in here. Those are all going to be built into that. For any of our middle school customers that are on the line right now, we do only turn this on for high school because that's typically where it's only ever wanted. And this is written and geared more towards high school students, but we are happy to turn that on at the middle school too. So you just let your partner experience manager know we can get this turned on and accessible for you as well. But I did just want to mention, those custom ones, you can add in anything that you want. This was just an internship. You can kind of add all of these different parts right here, and you can recommend it to a whole student or a whole class or to individual students and have it show up for them. But let's dig into, like I said, any one of these newer virtual internships. So 22 of these already there, included with defined careers. You'll see this right in here. I'm just going to go right into energy. I know that we get asked about that one quite a bit. You've got the details, credits and outcomes. And as an educator, you can just preview all of this right there. And this will show up, step by step. It's designed for students to be working through on their own and getting experience. There's always going to be kind of an onboarding session. This is going to be just a little bit about energy. We've got soft skills built in. I don't know if you're familiar with our soft skills collection that we've also released, but I'll show you those as well. There's always going to be 2 soft skills that we want students to be, something that they would learn and experience if they were doing this in person. We've got a day in the life, an interview with a mentor, and what it's like to work in the energy space, as well as kind of what's next. Students will then choose 2 products across all of these different areas. You, as an educator, you have access to see all of them that are right there. They can click in here, see a little bit more about it. These are going to be very similar to some of the career courses that you've seen where students can go through. They're going to have the introduction. They're going to have some sort of a hook in there, as well as, of course, their goal, role, audience, and situation. You can see the product that they are going to be doing there as well. So we've got a number of different experiences then. Like I said, they do have to do 2. We're going to have that post experience. So again, a second soft skill, have kind of an exit interview. What'd you think? And then, like I mentioned, there's that career review survey that's embedded all across Defined Careers. And then lastly, they're going to be doing a little bit of work with, what's next? How do I get a job in the energy sector, and how to job search, how to write a resume, cover letter, as well as some interviewing tips within that particular area as well. So that's a little bit about the opportunities feature, as well as, like I said, those 6 new virtual internships. Wanted to make sure everybody knew about those. The second content area that we added within Defined Careers was that post-secondary collection. So I did just want to mention here, so I just switched up here into the courses menu. And this is where educators have access to all of the hundreds of courses that we have within Defined Careers. You've got all of your different filters here, search, of course, your cluster and your pathway. We've got grade level. You have access to both the middle school and the high school and can assign those out as needed. But I want to focus right here in the collection. The careers are where, all of the career courses are going to be. We do, of course, have financial literacy. That's also kind of newer, that rolled out last year. But if you're interested in that, that is all aligned to the National Personal Financial Literacy Standards. So another great option. Post-secondary planning was what I had mentioned. So this is where we're going to be rolling this out all throughout the fall. We've got 9th and 10th grade published already. Students can go in here and you can see the wealth of content here that is going to be kind of laid out very nicely for each grade level. 11th grade will be very closely coming out probably either this month or next month. And then I did want to just mention, of course, those soft skills I mentioned are 2 are embedded in each virtual internship, but you have access to all of them, as do the students, right through that as well. So that was the bulk of the new content. I think the last stuff within Defined Careers is going to be all of the different reports. So I'm going to show you all of the cool new reports that we've been working on here in Defined Careers as well. So just like Defined Learning, in Defined Learning, you'll see a tab over, it'll either see goal and reports or just reports, depending on what your school has access to. I've already gone through these 2. We have 4 new reports as well. These 3, the career review survey, assessment report, and opportunities report, are all specific to Defined Careers only. The career exploration report is in Defined Careers and Defined Learning. So I'm just going to kind of go through all of these very quickly. You're going to see a very familiar look and feel across all of them. Again, just like when I went through the performance indicators as well as the plan, you can filter by school, grade level, teachers and classes, all very common. I'm going to, again, kind of go back to, we'll just do some from 2023. We'll do the 1st through June. Oh, and that's not where the demo data was. Sorry, I have the wrong wrong dates in here. But what we're doing here, and I'm not going to go back and redo that, is looking at what careers. The 5 questions that they're going to be looking at are the career you want to pursue, what are the personal preferences or traits, what do you know about the careers you're considering, as well as what are the following career, what have projects helped you, that hands-on experience that they're getting in Defined Careers, as well as how far are they in the career planning. Each one of these, you're going to be able to see kind of what it was their first time that they took the survey versus their most recent. So it's really nice to kind of see the change from one time of taking it to the next. And I'll always just compare those 2, their first one to the most recent. But sometimes you're going to notice that if we had a whole list here, is where you're going to see every single time, if a student took it 5 times, maybe they took it during the Pathways Matching Assessment, but maybe they also did 2 career courses and a virtual internship. Maybe then they also did it as a standalone. All of those will be in there, so you have access to that as well. So that's now your data is only going to be as good as seriously as your students are taking it. So we do want to make sure and kind of emphasize that you want students to be thoughtful in that. Another thing that I will mention is when you're setting your filters, I was just doing this as very quickly. Obviously, somebody earlier in their stages, if you take a 6th grader, they're going to be at a much different stage than a 12th grader. So I would always encourage you to take a look at that at grade level by grade level if you are starting to dig into that data. The next report that I'll dig into here is the assessment report. So this right now only includes the pathways matching assessment. Again, the same filters. Again, you'd probably want to filter by grade level here. I'm going to go back to just the 23-24. And this is going to break it down by all of the assessments that have been taken. So right now, this is only the pathways matching assessment. We are working to build some enhanced reporting for some aggregate reports for the aptitude test. So stay tuned for that. That's actually on our roadmap. But right now, you'll see it broken down by, I have all, but you can filter by just middle school or just high school, but all three components of that. So you'll see what their study preferences is. All of this is interactive. This was all of their rankings and where they fall within those particular areas. You can see the interests and the same thing for the high school. So again, kind of what were all of their rankings across all of those different study preferences? What were the interests aggregate, as well as all of those work values? And then the recommended pathways as well. So you can kind of see that broken apart by the cluster here on the left, and then the pathways within that particular cluster as well. So this, again, anytime you see that generate report, you can have that report done as a CSV file if you need to get that data out and get it into another system. The next report is that opportunities report. So I showed you very quickly the opportunities feature, which had those virtual internships as well as anything that you had posted. We just launched this last month, so we're very excited about this. Again, I'm just going to leave this all as is. You would probably want to do a little bit more disaggregated of data in terms of grade levels and everything too, but you kind of see it just a overview at the top. How many opportunities have students enrolled in, whether it's a real internship or apprenticeship, or whether it's a virtual internship. So you can kind of see that broken down here at the top. We're going to have that broken down. And then again, taking a look at all of the different clusters that they're in and the pathways that they are. So you're going to see, again, a look at all of the different students that are in there, where it is, kind of what their progress is. So if they are working through those just virtual internships, where they are with the check-ins, how many assignments, you can kind of keep track of that. And one of the things that we're working on adding is a timesheet to kind of keep track of hours, whether it is one that is one that is in the field, like an internship or apprenticeship or something like that. So that is something that we're working to enhance on this one. And then the very last report, because I want to be conscientious of time here, is the career exploration report. So this was the last one on my list for defined careers, but it was also overlapping with defined learning. So defined learning also has this report. And this is, again, you're going to see those same common filters, breaking it down by school, grade level, teachers, classes, and again, school year. And what we're doing in this report is taking a look at all of the different clusters, the pathways, and the individual careers that students have actually experienced. Students already kind of have a similar report that's specific to them in that career cluster wheel that's in both defined learning and defined careers, where it's showing them all of the experiences. Now, as educators, you have access to this as well at an aggregate level. So you're going to see the clusters, the pathways, how many educators. It's also a little bit of an engagement report too. So you're going to be able to see where, how much usage is being, how much is either defined learning or defined careers is being used, and who are the ones using it. So just like what we saw, I'm just going to go through it very quickly. You're going to see the clusters that students are experiencing, or that, in defined learning, that's going to be teacher driven. They're assigning those out. And then in defined careers, a lot of times that's going to be self-selected, where students are enrolling in those courses, but it can be assigned as well. So that's going to be another way that you'll see broken down here with all of the different clusters and the pathways. And then again, drilling in to each specific student and each specific career and resource that they are engaged in. You can see what it was, a task, what cluster it is, and what pathway it is. So that's across both defined learning and defined careers, which is quite cool. So I'm checking, doesn't look like we have any questions again. So I'm going to wrap up here very quickly. So we just did the live demo here, and to kind of wrap up here as we near the end of our time together, The only other thing that I wanted to mention here in Defined Learning was, in addition to your career exploration report, which now you have that data at your fingertips for anybody who is an entity admin, we can also add that permission for anybody else within your school or district that needs to have that reporting permission. We have several new courses. So we've got a whole list here. We've got a number of different social study ones that have been added to that catalog. K through 12 integrated ELA. You'll see all of those different courses as well as high school physics. And I went through a lot in a very small amount of time because we have been very busy here trying to roll out all of these features. And I wanted to make sure that you are at least aware of them. If you need additional support on any of this, I have my amazing colleagues up here from the partner experience team, and they would love to do a deeper dive on any of things that I mentioned today on this webinar. Of course, you're going to get the recording. We're going to send that out for everybody, so you'll have that and you can refer back to it. But I did want to mention all of our wonderful partner experience folks here. We even have a landing page that I will put this in the chat for you as well, if you would like. That way you can book a meeting with any of them if you would like. So they are all right here as well. You've got the schedule a meeting, all of their emails and everything too. So if you do need any additional support with anything that I mentioned today, they would be happy to walk you through it again, or any of your other team members too. So a few other things as we wrap up here. Like I mentioned, we do have a couple of other things to kind of stay tuned for. We're working on some very exciting customization updates in Defined Learning. What we've heard is some people in Defined Learning say, well, we only want to have everybody doing the same project at the same time. How can we make that easier to customize? We heard you, and we are going to add in what we're calling the quick project feature, where you can just click on one and it will automatically update a new template, whole slide presentation for you with just that product featured in that slideshow for you. And you don't have to update both the slideshow and the information below. So we're working on making some really streamlined customization updates for you there. And like I already mentioned too, the enhanced reporting for Defined Aptitude is coming as well. Before we close, I did just want to make a mention. We do have, I know one of the things we hear all the time is, how are other partners using either Defined Learning or Defined Careers? We have our symposium coming up on October 1st. It's going to be a 3-part session. We would love for you to stop in and join that as well. This 3-part series is going to be kind of moving from October. Then we're going to have 2 sessions, one at the beginning of February and one at the end of February. This first one's going to feature educators from Montgomery County Public Schools who have a great story to tell on how they are implementing career-connected learning opportunities, as well as an amazing partner in Florida, our Santa Rosa County partner, who's going to also share some awesome stuff about how they're using, and they're going to be featured across all 3 parts. So you can kind of follow their journey with Defined Learning, Defined Careers, as well as Defined Academy. So would love if you would like to register for that. I'll put that link in the chat too. So you've got that in case you are interested. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. First of all, I just really want to, it doesn't look like I've gotten any questions, so that's great. But I do want to thank you all for joining today and just being such incredible partners of ours. We truly appreciate everything you do for your students, and and ensuring that they have opportunities and resources to build a brighter future through all of this career-connected learning that we are so passionate about. Our commitment is to their success is really what makes, or your commitment really is really what makes our work so rewarding. So we value your partnership immensely, and we look forward to continuing to support you. So wishing you all a wonderful and successful rest of the school year. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are always here to support you. So again, thank you.